The government's agenda on new towns and more broadly on planning reform is very welcome. I feel like lots of the reforms that this government has made to the planning system since it came to power are likely to sort of unlock lots of the sorts of developments that we need to see. But I think that includes both the delivery of new towns, but more broadly than that, I think that there is a recognition that we need to be thinking about sort of at a more strategic level. So we need to be thinking about strategic planning beyond just the homes. How do you make sure that the homes you're building have, the electricity they need and water and the transport links? And I think that the reforms that this government have made go some way towards that to make it easier. They've also made changes in the planning and infrastructure bill to the development corporations, and the compulsory purchase order reform as well are likely to make the sort of new town agenda a bit easier. I think, the finance is probably going to be a bit of a barrier here. We know that the government is operating under a very constrained fiscal environment, and I think we're probably going to get into that in a bit more depth later on, but I suspect that will be one of the barriers. And then I think the last point that I'd make on the sort of opening question is the need. I would urge the government to be very clear about what the problem it's trying to solve with the new towns is. So when we talk about the housing crisis, that actually means quite different things across different bits of the country. And if the government isn't clear about what problems it's trying to solve with the new towns, then potentially we'd run into problems. And we can go into that in a bit more depth. But for example, we know that affordability is a big issue in the southeast. That's less of a problem in the northeast. In the northeast, actually, housing quality is more of an issue. And just being really clear about what problems you're trying to solve and how that interacts with other bits of government policy, particularly around industrial strategy, the growth agenda, it's just going to be really important to make sure those are all aligned as they move forward with the new towns agenda.